powerful tools to be able to change your life. Today's the day where we talk about change your attitude to change your life. Did you know that you can change your whole entire life if you change your attitude? Hi, Jean Marie. How are you? I am so excited to be here to talk about what really matters when we want to change our life, what really is going to make a difference. And when I was going through a hard patch, I thought all these things that we had to do as human beings to get our life where we wanted it to be was quite frankly a lot and overwhelming. And at the time, I didn't realize that my stinking thinking was the cause of my problems and that I had to change my attitude. Now, I had a good attitude a lot of my life, most of my life, but then I had a series of several crises happen in a very short period of time, with the death of my sister, my divorce, the death of a business partnership, the death of my father, and it was just too much all at the same time. And I forgot what I had learned, and that is to change your attitude to change your life. So a lot of us go around saying, well, this and that happened. My mother abused me or my father abused me, and that's why I have a bad attitude. And that is true. That is why you have a bad attitude. But it doesn't mean that it gives you permission to have a bad attitude your entire life. At some point as an adult, we have to decide to take the reins over and take control of our life and make it a great life. And so continuing to use that excuse of, well, I was abused or I was traumatized or my family had a horrible thing happen and that's why I don't have a happy life. That isn't going to work for your whole life. So today we're going to be talking about changing our attitude to change our life. It's really simply a decision. And once you get really good at it and it becomes your new MO, you will not want to have a negative attitude ever again. In fact, people who have negative attitudes will then be very hard for you to enjoy talking to because you'll know the difference. You know, there have been many books written by people who have gone through traumas in their life. Viktor Frankl wrote one when he was in a concentration camp, and he wrote about that they can take everything away from him, but they can't take away his attitude. They can't take away his personality or his way of looking at the world, no matter what. And that was a very moving book. If you've ever read that book or if you've ever heard of it, reread it again if you're feeling like you need to change your attitude. Okay, so there are people who can be super happy in life and have very little. And there are other people who have a lot and have a very bad attitude and are not happy. So attitude and aptitude are the things that predict our altitude. So if we just have our aptitude, if we're just intelligent, if we just have our education, our certifications, and our degrees, or our training, even if it's not a particular type of degree or certification, just our training and experience in life, and then we have a good attitude, we can make anything happen in our life. However, if we just have the aptitude, but we don't have the good attitude, we can cause a lot of pain to our life and a lot of failures that continue to repeat themselves over and over and over again. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather work with somebody who has less skills, but a really great attitude than somebody who has amazing skills, but a bad attitude. Because somebody that has a good attitude is easy to work with and easy to guide and direct and to show all the different new skills in order to be able to make a really happy environment in our work environment as well as our home environment. Now, somebody who is got a great attitude, not the greatest aptitude, we can work with them, but not the other way around. So just think about it for a minute. How many of you know somebody who has what appears to be everything that people are working toward getting? A nice relationship, a family, a career, able to vacation, and has nice things, but they have a bad attitude. And as a result, they have a lot of things going on in their life that aren't so great, that are not making them happy. And it's because of their attitude. So, in order to change our life, the fastest, quickest way is to change our attitude. And I love teaching this and sharing this, not only because of my own personal life and how I've noticed at times when my life wasn't going great in the past, it's because my attitude wasn't great. So here's what I learned. It's not about the problems that we have. It's about our attitude toward our problems. It's about the attitude we have about our problems. That's actually our problem. You know, a lot of people have problems, but they have a good attitude. So they're able to work through them, they're able to clear them, and they're able to live a happy life. And then there's other people that, because they don't have a good attitude about their problems, it's much harder to work through them. It's much harder to heal them, and it's much harder to be happy. So go ahead, and today I am asking you if you can do an inventory of your attitude. Do an inventory check right now where you're sitting, because we all have to do this at different times in our life, depending on what's going on. And just look and see, do you have the attitude that the glass is half full, or do you have the attitude that the glass is half empty? How do you look at the world? And how do you look at your problems? Do you have the attitude that because you have these problems, your life will never get better? Or do you have the attitude of, I'm going to work toward clearing up these problems and create a much better life? Which attitude do you have? Another thing to ask you is, do you have the attitude of, I wish this day would just get over with now? Or do you have the attitude of, it's a great day and I'm excited about what is to come? Or do you have the attitude of, when is it going to be over? So if you have the attitude when you wake up in the morning and you say, it's a great day, it's a brand new day, it's a fresh start, I can make it a great day, then you're going to have a much better day than if you wake up with another day. What do I have to get out of bed? That attitude doesn't get us anywhere good. It's a recipe for sliding down the slippery slope of sadness. Now, one thing to really consider is when you start changing your attitude and you've decided, okay, I'm going to have a positive attitude. Camille is right. This is a fresh reminder for me. It's timely. It's exactly what I needed to hear today. I'm going to turn my attitude around. Now, give it some time. Don't just say, okay, I'm going to have a good attitude. And then 2 weeks later, because everything isn't perfectly the way you want it, you say, oh, this doesn't work, and go back to bad attitudeville. You know, if we're subscribing to a bad attitude or a negative attitude, I'd like to say that that's basically subscribing to the darkness or to the anti-divine. I know everybody has a different definition for what divine is. So that's really just letting the anti-divine take a stronghold over our mind and control it. And if you're a good person out there trying to do good things, the anti-divine comes to try to attack and take a stronghold over our mind even stronger, harder, faster, and more often. So you have to be in that place of, be gone with you. I denounce you, anti-divine, in the name of divine. And I keep my life and my heart for me and for divine. You cannot have my mind. Because if you allow the stronghold of the anti-dark, or I'm sorry, the anti-divine or the dark, the opposite of light, to take over your mind, And it can easily happen. If you allow it, then your attitude will plummet and you will attract more negativity, more people who have a bad attitude, more things that happen that aren't what you want them to have happen in your life. So we have to be vigilant. We actually have to vigilantly protect our attitude and our mind with the attitude of, oh, no, you're not. You're not taking over my mind. You can feel it. You can feel yourself going into this attitude. That's where you say, come on back here. I am of divine. I am of the light. I am a spiritual being having a human experience in this world. And I go back to my source, to my creator of love and light and divinity. I own my mind and I choose to have a positive attitude. You know, if you enjoy being able to have a Bible verse, Philippians 4:8 talks about how you want to focus on the things that are praiseworthy, focus on the things that are positive. And I have found that that works better than any kind of hypnosis treatment, any kind of NLP treatment. Yes, these treatments are really excellent because they train us and they give us strength to have a positive attitude. However, if we don't choose to have a positive attitude and we let our mind be taken over by the negativity, the stronghold of the darkness or the anti-divine, then it will be a challenge to let any healing modality work for us. So step number one of changing your life, of healing your life, of changing the predicament that you're in or the circumstances that you're in your life is to change your attitude. And it's done through choosing to with self-discipline. It doesn't mean it's easy, especially in the beginning, but once you get used to it and you get good at it, you're going to want to make sure that you guard it and protect it. So that means you're not going to spend a ton of time with somebody who's super, super bad attitude. Negativity is something that is going to tarnish and take you down. So you can do limited doses, I call it. Just take limited doses. And of course, we sometimes work with people or they're in our family tree, they're family members of ours. And so we have to do our best to love them and appreciate them and respect them for where they're at. And we can also do some things to try to cheer them up and bring them happiness. I do have to tell you that somebody who's super negative really is aggravated by positive people. When you're in that negative attitude, you're kind of annoyed by how can they be so happy? And so do realize that you trying to shine your light on them will aggravate them. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to shine your light and bring happiness and joy and love. Just recognize that when they're in that space, it is the opposite of light. It's the darkness. And when they're in the darkness, they don't like the light shone on them. So still keep doing it, but realize that they're going to be like maybe growly or grumpy about it. Like, what does she have to be happy about or whatever? And we can say to ourselves, okay, that's my work life, or that's my particular relationship with that one person that I'm working on. But then you have to make sure that you spend 80% of your time with either yourself positive attitude or people you have found that can have and hold a positive attitude with you. You might even make an accountability partner and say, you know what? I've just decided that I'm going to turn around my attitude. Would you like to join me with that? And I know it's going to be work and we can catch ourselves, and I'll catch you and you can catch me, and we'll retract statements that are negative and we'll turn things around that we're saying or thinking. Because again, what I have learned in life, not only just me being a person and a woman, but also being a coach and a healer and a divine channel, working with so many clients all around the world, is that it's actually not our problems that we're going through that's the problem. It's the attitude we have about our problems that is the problem, because you can actually go through problems and work through them, do different various modalities. You may be doing self-hypnosis, but with a good attitude, you can get those treatments to work fast, quickly. So sometimes when I'm working with a client and they have a really great attitude, and we're doing NLP treatments, neuro linguistics programming, or we're doing self hypnosis training, and then they're going to be doing their homework with it. If they have a really positive attitude, they're going to get results quickly. And then they might have their friend hire me and they'll refer their friend to me. And maybe their friend doesn't have a positive attitude, or maybe the other way around. Maybe one is going slower, the other is going faster. The point is, the one that has the attitude that's not positive, the progress is very slow. It's like at turtle pace. And if you don't want to have slow progress and you want to speed it up because you want to get to the other side of your issues and start really living the greatest life possible, then choose that positive attitude, because that'll fuel and make all of your modalities that you're doing work better. I mean, your massage will be better if you go and have a massage. Your pedicure will be better if you go and have a pedicure. Your acupuncture, any kind, if you go have a sauna therapy treatment, if you're in there and you're focusing intentionally on positive thoughts, then you're going to come out of that sauna therapy or out of that massage or acupuncture or that hypnosis session or NLP session much better. And if you're in a group, because I do have group courses where we do training and healing, and we focus on a particular theme. So one of my courses is called Unleash Your Fully Empowered Self and Happy Life. In that course, we're focusing on 4 major things: unleashing and discovering our divine intuition and really working with our gifts and abilities. The other one is working with our divine purpose, really understanding what our divine purpose is and how to start working from a place of soul alignment. Another one is discovering your divine partnership, or meet, court, and marrying your divine equal spouse. Or if you're married, then working on healing and bringing your marriage up to a happy and fulfilling marriage. That's the third one. And the fourth one is discovering and developing your divine confidence. So when we're in a group, I work really hard to help people to all stay in a positive attitude, because if you have one person in there who decides to be growly, it actually taints the whole group, because negativity spreads like a contagious germ, like wildfire. And it's like, and it's so fast. And they've done a lot of studies. You actually have to put 10 times more positivity in there to get rid of one negativity. And so it makes it really a lot of work for someone like me, a facilitator, to make sure that the environment stays positive and happy. If we let somebody in who chooses and decides to not have enough self-control or self-discipline to be mindful and intentional with their attitude, because it really is being mindful and intentional with our attitude. It's not something that comes natural. I mean, there are a few people speckled around the world who naturally are born with a personality of sheer positivity and positive attitude, no matter what happens. And they'll tell you, it's just my attitude. It's just my personality. I don't have to try at it. I was born like this. And we're happy for those people. We're happy they exist, but they're rare. The majority of us human beings have to work at our attitude, and it doesn't accidentally happen. It intentionally happens because we chose to do it. So we decide to look at an issue as that it is going to happen for a reason, or I'm sorry, it is happening for a reason. And as a result, our life is turning around and changing and shifting. And we look at it like, well, it's in divine order. It's in divine timing. There is a reason for everything. And I trust it. I have faith. Do you know that when we have that kind of an attitude, then it does produce results? it does produce positivity in our life. And we have things good happen as a result of having a great attitude. And then, did you know that if you look at it the other way and you just complain about it, first of all, complaining blocks our blessings. So it is so counterproductive to be going through something that's not happy and not positive, and then start complaining about it, either out loud or inside internally in your internal thoughts, or out loud to yourself, or even worse, to other people as well. Because now you're spreading it around, and it's basically a contagious disease. And you can now inflict a lot of other people if they're really struggling to keep their attitude positive. Because sometimes when we're going through some stuff that's really tough, it's a little bit more or a lot more work to keep it positive. So during those times when you're already working really, really hard to stay positive, I do recommend that you shift some of the people that are not able to have a mindfulness and an intention around purposely being positive. Try not to spend a lot of time with them. Try to put yourself on a diet and eliminate that from your diet if you can. Now, there are some people in our life that are really going through a lot, and we really can't just push them on the outer. They might be going through some serious stuff. So we have to actually then put our shields up, and we have to recognize, okay, we're not going to change their attitude today. They've got a whole bunch of stuff they're dealing with. However, I'm going to put my positive attitude shield on, and I'm going to make sure that anything that's coming at me is going to bounce off of my shield and transmute into unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, compassion, radical acceptance, and positivity and kindness and happiness. And so you're really just choosing to let it, and you don't have to do anything for that. You are not like saying, okay, I'm shifting this into positivity as you talk, because that'll really make them mad. I did that in the early years when I was learning about attitude. And I remember I was completely clueless as to how this positive attitude stuff worked. I was very young. I think I was only maybe 20 years old, 19 or 20 years old. And I had a family member who was going through an early pregnancy. And I was trying to give her coaching on the day that she was giving birth, telling her to have a positive attitude. And she was like in tons of pain. And she practically kicked me in the face and was like, get out of here. And I was clueless, like, how did I just upset her? I thought I was giving her love. Well, I didn't realize that I had to meet her at her place. She was in sheer agony, having an early birth, and didn't know what to expect. There was so much fear around it, as well as the pain. And I had no business to try to push that on her. So I'm not suggesting that you go out there now and say, well, I'm going to clean up my attitude, so the rest of you have to clean it up too. Now, everybody shut up and have a positive attitude. That probably is going to just hurt or offend a lot of people. Instead, do it for yourself, and then put your shield up of that. You're going to let that other stuff bounce off and turn into positive energetically. So this is an intention that's energetic, but it's not words you're saying to them as much, because you might not be able to speak to them during that time in their life. However, if you are able to talk with them because they're not in a sheer crisis or trauma at that moment, you might be able to gently say, hey, I've been doing a little research, and I've been figuring out some things on how to heal and improve my life and make it better and make it the best life I can have. And I've found out about how there's certain things we can do that actually don't cost any money. They don't cost any time additional. They just are a decision. And I have made the decision for myself to change my attitude, because I know that I can change my life based on all this research and some classes I've been listening to. And I'd like to find out if you'd be willing to entertain that idea with me where we can focus together as a friendship, or maybe you're married to the person. Maybe they're your child. Maybe it's your son or your daughter. Maybe it is a very close friend of yours. And you can say, can we be accountability partners? And can we work together on this? Because we both could really improve. And call yourself out on it too, because then they don't feel like you're aiming it at them. They don't feel like you're just telling them what they're doing wrong and how they have to improve, because nobody likes that. But if you can say, I caught myself and I've recognized that I'm not doing so great with my attitude, and I'm wondering if we can do it together, because it's really hard to do it if you spend a lot of time with people who are negative. And I know that together we could make a really great change. And let's do it for a longer time than, 5 minutes. Let's give ourselves 90 days to see what we can do. So I'm going to give you guys a 90-day challenge. Today, I'm giving you the 90-day challenge of, will you decide to have a positive attitude and check yourself and guard yourself when you're dealing with people who you have to deal with that aren't positive, by having your shield up, that you intentionally know that whatever's coming at you is just going to bounce off of your bubble around you, your shield, and it's going to transform into love and positivity. They will actually feel that gentle intention that you have as well, and they'll feel love from you rather than judgment from you, because if they feel judgment, it doesn't really work at all. Now, the other thing I want to say is, around the 90-day thing, once you have formed this habit, it'll become easy, and you'll find that it really makes you feel bad and yucky to have the negative attitude. You'll also notice that you're really doing much better in your life. And to speak to that note, when we're letting the anti-divine, the darkness, have a stronghold on our mind, and we're not taking it back so that we own our mind, and that we put the light and the positivity into it and intentionally live from a place of love and light and positivity. When we accidentally do that, because I don't believe most people don't intentionally do it. They accidentally do it because they've gone through a crisis or a trauma. They've gone through a horrible thing, an illness of their own or of a family member, or a divorce, or some kind of a career change, a loss of a job, different things that really rattle our cage and shake us up. I feel that most people accidentally give their mind over to the anti-divine, and then they don't always catch it quick enough. And so then it causes a domino effect, and more negative things start happening, and we start attracting more things. And then we get into a car accident, and then we have this friendship like blow up and have a big argument. And then, because now we're on this track of negativity. So then we think, oh, there's another reason why I have every right to be mad. There's another reason why I have every right to be negative. Look what just happened. And so, of course, I'm mad and negative. And then we don't catch ourselves before we wreck ourselves. And then one day somebody comes into your life, or you hear a video like this that you're hearing today, and you get woken up and shooken up. So if I can shake you right now and wake you up and say, because I've had to be woken up too. We all do. We're human beings. And it's not always easy to remember every single thing that we have to do to be a healthy, strong, happy human being, right? So we have to remind each other, pick each other up, put each other's crowns back on, and keep moving forward. So what I want to remind you of is, if you have given your mind accidentally or intentionally to the darkness, to the anti-divine for X amount of time, maybe it's gone on now for 6 months, maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 6 years, maybe 25 years, depending on who you are, what your life path has been. Maybe it's only been 3 months and you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is a great reminder, Camille. All of you are coming from a different place right now. All I can say is, give the love and light and positivity and the divine, which that represents all of divine. Give divine the same amount of time in your mind, the love, the light, the positivity, positivity that you gave the anti-divine. So if you have had that stronghold of negativity over your mind for the last 12 months, for instance, then, or it could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, however long, if you've had that going on accidentally or intentionally, where you have allowed the stronghold of negativity and darkness to be over your mind for 12 months, then you need to give the divine, the love and the light, 12 months. Give it the same amount of time. Give the positive the same amount of time that you gave the negative. So don't just decide I'm going to have a positive attitude, and then in 2 weeks, it's not, your life isn't everything you want. So you quit on it and go, it's not working. Are you serious? Give it adequate time. So therefore, you can truly see the fruits of your labor. And if you'd like help and support, then I have private one-on-one coaching programs. I have certification courses, and we have group training and group certification courses that will support you on your journey. And it'll also give you a whole bunch of tools in your toolbox and life skills in order for you to create the life that you choose to experience. I have a Mother's Day sale going on. So I have a special free gift with purchase with each type of purchase, and it's different for each one. If you have very recently, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, made a purchase with me, you did get it. You did actually receive a free gift from me. And so you weren't left out, because if I know that we've got something coming up and I'm making some sales before that Mother's Day sale is launched, I will include it in that purchase that you're making 2 or 3 or 4 weeks before, usually 3 weeks before, so that you don't feel like, oh my God, I should have waited 2 weeks till Mother's Day. So that's all been included in your purchase. And then those of you who are thinking about that you want to join a class, or you would like some private one-on-one coaching, then send me an instant messenger on Facebook if you're watching the Facebook Live, or send me an email if you're watching Win Win Women TV Network, and go to Camille@CamilleConti.com. And when you email me, just let me know that you'd like to have a consultation so that we can talk about what kind of work we can do together to help you to go to the next level in your life, whatever it is that you're working on in your life, so that we can do our divine channel, neurolinguistics programming, life coaching work together. And maybe you want to have psychic development, divine channel development training, spiritual training. So that might be something that you're looking at wanting to learn professionally in order to add it to your career right now and what you're doing in the work world, whether it's your own business or whether you're working for somebody else. And we have a course called Becoming a Certified Divine Channel NLP Life Coach, Level 1 Practitioner. And then we also have Level 2 and 3, which is Master Teacher and CEO Business Development. So just send me over a text message at Camille, or an email at Camille@CamilleConti.com. If you're already on my text messaging because we're already working together and you want to add something new, then just text me and we'll have a conversation about it and see what's the next right step for you. Also, if you're not already signed up for our Body, Mind, Spirit retreat, the You Can Have It All retreat in Hawaii coming up in October, definitely reach out to me, because we have some space available. We have limited space available. So, and they are selling quickly. I'm super excited. We will be in Honolulu on Waikiki Beach at the Hilton Honolulu Resort. And we're going to be there October 12th through the 17th. And we would absolutely love to have you join us. All right. Now, what I am